In a world where mobile games are not that good looking, comes a game that's really good looking. It's Raid Shadow Legends, and it's on your mobile, and you can get it for free. Enjoy an amazing storyline, awesome 3D graphics, giant boss fights, PvP battles, and hundreds of champions to collect and customize. If you download through my link today, you're going to immediately get 50,000 silver, so thank you to Raid for sponsoring today's video. Mad love! Ladies and gentlemen, now today we need to send some crazy love to Raid Shadow Legends because not only are they sponsoring today's video, but also they've hooked me up with a giant bundle of shards to open today, man. And I'm really excited about this, man, because they've been well generous. They've sent me over 20 ancient shards, and last time we did an opening of 7, and also 5 of the sacred shards as well. So the sacred shards are some of the rarest and most tricky to get in the game, but there are many ways to obtain them, and these have a 94% chance, a guaranteed chance at an epic, with also a 6% chance at a legendary character as well. So just to point out, you know, some of the ways that you could obtain sacred shards is actually part of the new player login program. If you get to day 35, you get one of these shards, as well as like week 2 you gain a void shard, week 3 and 4 ancient shards as well. Also via the progression rewards, if you get all the way up to level 60, you can obtain a sacred shard that way as well. They also have a referral program, so if you invite your friends to play this game and they get up to level 50, you gain a sacred shard for every single friend that reaches level 50, and also if 3 of them hit level 50, you get a bonus one as well, so there's 4 of them that way. Also, by logging in every single month and completing the daily quest, which is super easy to do every single day, if you do that for 30 days, you gain a void shard and also a sacred shard as well if you can do all of the monthly stuff, and it's pretty straightforward to do. So yeah, a lot of ways to potentially gain those sacred shards in the game. But anyway, let's start off by opening some of the ancient shards, and I think today we're going to open 3 of them and then 2 stacks of 10. We're going to go in really big for this one. So let's go for the first 3, and hopefully we're going to see some epic characters pop out. And first up, I believe we've got Marked here, who's a barbarian character. Let's have a quick look at the reviews, man. Wow, this has got some really good reviews, especially for Dragon's Lair and Arena Offense as well. So I'm just going to have a look at the abilities here. So we've got attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff for 1 turn. So I can see why that's valuable, because that is really gonna, you know, ramp up the damage of your other champions. And if you invest kind of the tomes into this lass as well, it's really gonna ramp up the chance that this is gonna trigger. So I can see why that one's quite valuable for boss killing there. Also got an area of effect, attacks all enemies and places a decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns, and the damage is based on attack. And then finally we have totemic power, places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn and places a 30% increased defense buff on allies for 2 turns. This character seems like an insane support character, so yeah, that was amazing for the very first shard today. But let's go for shard number 2 and see what we're gonna get here. So out of this one we've got a another rare character coming out. We got the Magister, and I think I've got Magister already. Some fairly mid-tier reviews, so let's not worry too much about the Magister today, because we have a lot of shards to open. So let's go for one more, and it's another rare character, the Grinner. Okay, this is a very interesting looking undead man, I would assume. It's got some very interesting attire there, and his big old banner as well, so he's a support character. Let's have a look at the reviews here. He's got 82. They're looking fairly positive for the most part. So let's have a look at his basic attacks. One enemy has a 25% chance of placing a 25% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. And then if you get that ascended, it goes up to 50% increased attack. So I can see why that character is really valuable, man. Seems like an awesome support one. And then finally, the ultimate is attacks all enemies, has a 20% chance of removing one random buff from each target, so that seems quite valuable as well. And then we've got Unbury, revives an ally with 50% health, and places a shield buff on the revived champion for 2 turns, equal to 20% of their max AP. Yeah, overall, man, Grinner seems really, really solid. I was a little bit, you know, cautious about this man once he came out of the shard, but he looks like he's got a lot of great and super valuable abilities there. So let's go for summon a stack of 10 here, boys, and see if we can get an epic or a legendary. Come on, mate, we got 10 of these shards. We got an epic, we got Soul Drinker there, and coming out of another epic, we've got Delver. So let's have a quick look at Soul Drinker and also Delver, the 2 epics that we've got. So Soul Drinker, wow, this character looks crazy. Okay, really badass looking character. Let's have a look at the basics. So we got Raising Hand, attacks one enemy, decreases bomb debuff detonation countdowns by 1 turn. Don't know if that's maybe another ability that he has. So we've got Raining Fire, attacks 3 times at random, decreases a bomb debuff detonation countdown by 1 turn if the target has a poison debuff. And the ultimate is Magma Blast, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a bomb that detonates after 3 turns. So this character actually has a really interesting concept of just kind of throwing bombs on the opponent and then using other skills to detonate them. So he seems like he's going to be really fun to play. I think we are probably going to have to level this dude up. I can't see the reviews anywhere, so I might check out this character later. But if you have Soul Drinker, man, let me know if he's any good. And then we've also got Set Ablaze, so has an 80% chance of placing 2 bomb debuffs on each enemy that detonate after 2 turns when this champion dies. So yeah, if he's going to go out, he's going to go out with a little bit of fire there, so seems like a bit of an interesting ability if he does get targeted down first. And then we've also got Delver as well. So Delver is an attack character, so has attacks one enemy, has a 45% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns, so that's great for just completely shutting down opponents. And I imagine with that chance and the fact that it's 2 turns as well, that's probably quite effective in a lot of scenarios, I would say. And then we've got Mark for Death, attacks one enemy, places a 25% weaken debuff for 3 turns if the target has a heal reduction debuff. So yeah, that seems fairly useful. And then finally we've got the finisher, attacks all enemies and places a 50% increase attack buff on this champion for 2 turns before attacking. If the target has a weakened debuff, place a 60% decreased defense debuff on the target for 2 turns. So I think there's a lot of very interesting synergy with the abilities there to get a lot of damage out of Delver. So Delver seems a little bit interesting, but I think Soul Drinker really probably is the highlight of that one, just by the look of it. But, you know, we don't know until we've tested out the characters. But let's go for the next stack of 10. And straight away with an epic there, we've got Oathbound. Also another epic, Shatterbone. We've got a legendary there, Blood Gorged. Oh my goodness, dude, this is my first legendary character, and from an ancient shard as well. So this is he looks a little bit interesting. But let's have a bit of a look there. So we've got break defense level 1. I can't believe we got a legendary, man. There's such a slim chance. I think it's about just over like a 1 in 200 chance in an ancient shard that you're going to get a legendary. So we've got break defense, attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 30% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Yeah, that seems really good. That is very effective. There's a good chance that that's going to apply. So awesome. That seems an amazing basic. And then we have the second ability, Raging Beast, attack 3 times at random, puts one of the target's skills on cooldown as well. Is that like for every single hit? Because that seems like it could be really good. I don't know if that works against bosses, but if it does, man, seems pretty good. And then we got Decapitate. I kind of read that as Despacito at first. I'm not really too sure why. But we got the Decapitate, so attacks one enemy, will ignore defense, and I imagine this is probably probably a pretty hard-hitting one. And then the ascended ability, enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. So that's a little bit savage, man. I imagine in certain scenarios and matchups that's gonna be quite good. But I think that's a pretty awesome one for our first legendary there. But let me know your thoughts on Blood Gorged in the comments section below. And then we've got Oathbound here. So Oathbound, what does he have as his basic attack? So he's a defense character, attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn, and damage inflicted is proportional to defense there. I think as well, if you put a few tomes in this dude, the chance to freeze is going to go up to 50%, so that could be really, really good if it does work on like some larger enemies, maybe problem enemies and bosses. So yeah, that seems like a really good basic attack there. We also have Subjugate as the second ability, so attacks one enemy 3 times, has a 60% chance of placing a 25% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns, and each hit has a 30% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 30% there. So yeah, that seems really, really good for getting rid of the turn meter on the opponent. So yeah, seems like a really awesome second ability there. And then finally we got Intimidate level 1, so attacks a random 4 times. Each attack has a 30% chance of placing a block cooldown skills debuff for 2 turns. So that seems really useful, man. I think Oathbound seems like a very solid character to get. And then we got Shatterbones here, who is this lovely looking gentleman from the Organ tribe, an epic attack character. So we've got Rend, level 1 as his basic attack, attacks one enemy and places a 25% increase attack buff on all allies for 1 turn if this attack is critical. So in the right setup with some crit buffs, man, it might be a pretty good ability to use. Then we have his second ability, Hail, which attacks all enemies 3 times and has a 50% chance to decrease the turn meter by 30%. So yeah, that seems like it could be alright there. Attacks all enemies 3 times. Actually, this is going to be quite good, I think. That is a really, really good ability. Like, the more I think about that one, I think in the right scenario, that could really, like, if you're lucky, give you pretty much an extra turn on the team by taking the turn meter of everybody away by, like, 30 to 90% on the opposing team. So, yeah, that could be an awesome ability to have. And then we got Warcry as well, so places a 15% decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns and fills the turn meter of all allies by 25%. And then finally we have the one that unlocks at Ascension 3, increases ally accuracy in the arena by 70. So I think for kind of bursty arena setups, this character might be really, really good. So yeah, overall a really, really solid result from a lot of the ancient shards today, because last time we didn't get, you know, even a single epic. So to get like 4 epics and 1 legendary, man, a really, really good result. But can we get 2 legendary champions now? We're going to find out very, very shortly. Let's crack open Sacred Shard number 1. And is it going to be a legendary? Dude, a legendary straight off the bat? This luck is crazy, man. It's crazy. We got War Mother, who is a very interesting looking character. 291 reviews here, all quite positive for the most part. So the basic attack on War Mother is Cry Havoc, which attacks one enemy 2 times, and each hit has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns there. And then we also have the Special Brew, attacks all enemies, places a bomb debuff that detonates after 3 turns. Yeah, that seems pretty good. I'm trying to figure out what the Ascended skill is. Oh, the Ascended skill places 2 bomb debuffs that detonate after 3 turns. And then finally we have the ultimate ability, which is attacks all enemies and instantly detonates all bomb debuffs if this attack is critical. So yeah, I like this bomb mechanic, man. We have 2 characters that now utilize this, so I'm interested to see maybe if they have like a synergy together. So that seems like a pretty good result, man. A legendary out of shard number 1. So let's see what we're gonna get out of shard number 2, and it's gonna be an epic champion. This one is gonna be Jarang, so he's an epic attack lizardman character. Doesn't have the best ratings overall for a lot of the game, so let's have a look at his skills. Attacks enemies, will ignore 30% of the target's defense, so yeah, that's a little bit of a selfish basic there. Attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, so that might be alright as a ultimate ability for, you know, the right setup there, but it's not exactly mass crowd control. And then his ultimate is attacks 3 times at random, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decrease debuff for 2 turns. So that seems alright, you know, in the right scenario. And the final one is increases ally speed in dungeons by 23%. So I can see maybe why for the right boss fight he might be good to have for the speed synergy there, but Jarang, I don't think he's the worst character out there. Seems alright, but let's go for number 3, and it's going to be another epic champion today. So this is a Knight Reverend, has over 1,000 reviews on this one. So yeah, these reviews are looking really good. 4.9 for the Spider's Den and 4.9 for Arena Offense as well. So this one looks like she is going to be pretty promising here. So Burning Wave attacks all enemies. Wow, okay, that's great. Any like basic attack that attacks every single opponent, the character is just like generally speaking like absolutely amazing. And the Ascended skill attacks all enemies and places an extra hit on enemies with less than 50% health points. And then we have Vaporize as well, so attacks one enemy, puts the target skills on cooldown, and heals the ally with the lowest health by 25% there. So yeah, that seems quite useful. You know, deals a little bit of damage, puts the target skill on cooldown, and also finally offers a little bit of regeneration. And then Immortality, so equalizes the health of all allies. The health levels of all allies will then be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest health, then heals the target ally by 10% of their max HP. That seems great. That seems really good for a lot of setups. So yeah, this character, man, is definitely a big win there. So proper happy about that one. That seems like a banging character for so much content, especially the Spider's Den, which is definitely an area in the dungeons where I've been having a little bit of trouble. Then we got the Crypt Witch, so an epic character, only 76 reviews there. Some alright reviews, not really the best generally speaking here from Crypt Witch though. But we do have Fetid Steel, which is the basic attack, so attacks one enemy, deals 30% more damage if the target has any buffs. So I can see why that isn't the most popular. It's a bit of a selfish one, doesn't do anything kind of too grand on the basic there. And then we have Dismantle, so attacks 2 times at random, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decrease debuff for 2 turns. So yeah, that's only like two times at random. It's not really the most effective like decrease defense, but it could be alright for like single target scenarios there. But I think, you know, we've got characters now that place that debuff just off their basic attack, so I don't think, you know, she's really shining too much here. And then finally, Not So Fast, so attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense if the target is faster than this champion. So yeah, just doesn't really seem like the best kind of kit overall, but, you know, you win some, you lose some, lads. And let's go for the final one. Come on, another legendary, and it's going to be an epic champion to finish off, but I think, you know, we've got 2 legendaries today. It's been very decent overall. So looking at the reviews here, 4.9 for Clan Boss and also 4.8 for Force Keep. So this character seems very hit and miss. Very popular for Dragon's Lair, Minotaur's Labyrinth, Ice Golem's Peak as well. So let's have a look at the abilities. So attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. I think that 5% poison debuff is so valuable for like big targets with a single health pool. So that's probably one of the reasons that he's very hit and miss around various pieces of content in the game. And then we've got Curse Ether as well, so attacks one enemy. If this champion is under 1 or more debuffs, this attack ignores 30% of the enemy's defense. If this champion is under 2 or more debuffs, enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. If this champion is under 3 or more debuffs, this attack is always critical. If this champion is under 4 or more debuffs, the champion heals by 30% of the damage inflicted. If this champion is under 5 or more debuffs, grants an extra turn, removes all debuffs from this champion after the attack. That is a really cool ability, man. I like all the additional like status effects depending on like how many debuffs you have. So yeah, I can see why this character is popular for the Void Keep, because you gain so many debuffs there. And finally we have Ruination Ritual, places a 2.5% poison debuff on this champion for 4 turns at the start of each turn, and the Ascended skill has a 70% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on a random enemy for 4 turns at the start of each turn. So yeah, I see why this guy is pretty much, looking from the reviews, one of the like ultimate single target boss killers. A lot of love for the clan boss with this man. So yeah, I think he's a bit of a situational character, but I think he was a really good one to pick up. But I just want to see like some of these characters in action now. So let's jump into battle campaign. I don't know like how much we can like punch up with characters that really aren't like leveled up at the moment, because we still need a bit of time to like level them up and sort them out, but let's see if we can just jump in with some of the newer ones that we got, and bring in one more character who looked pretty interesting as well. Was there, I'm just trying to, you know, like recognize here the profile icons. I think this is the one that we got that cleaves like everybody. Do we have any aura skill? We don't have any aura skill, so let's just jump in with what we got here, and we'll see, even without levels, man, if these characters can still do some really good stuff. And between like this time and the next video, I'll be sure to get these characters like leveled up and equipped and figure out you know, who exactly we want to go for here. So let's go ahead and use the ultimate. So that was Magma Blast, a very cool kind of fire tornado animation there. And let's use the Equalize ability here, Immortality. Wow, that was pretty effective, man. That was pretty effective. Attacks one enemy, will ignore defense. Attacks 3 times at random. Should we just go for that one? Yeah, let's sort it out. Okay, well that's that worked out quite well for getting one of them down. And again, these characters they're only level 1 at the moment, man. Right, what do we want to fire off here? Let's go for Mother's Touch, and going for the single target one there to just finish it off. Let's use this ability, see what happens. Oh, that is a very cool kind of spike animation there. Let's fire off Raining Fire. Dude, once I get a little bit of firepower, get some proper equipment sets in these characters, I think they're going to be absolutely amazing. Use Vaporize there, increases the cooldown. Attacks one enemy, will ignore defense. Let's use that to get this man down. And, okay, we're taking a little bit of a beating here. We are still in the game, though. Even with level 1 characters, man, still taking on these level 22s. So, nice little cleave there. Try and finish that one off. Double attack there, and now we're on the final wave. So what do we want to do? Let's go for the left-hand side here. Nice little double hit on that one. Let's go for the advantage here. That was a very nice strike. Okay, it looks like we might be a little bit on the ropes, but I think we might be able to pull this one back with a little bit of tactful gameplay. I think we could get this one down if we're lucky. Oh, we're so close there. Attacks 3 times at random. Right, let's aim at that one. So we get the left-hand side one down. We got the second one down as well. So we've just got these 2 remaining units. Let's slap into the level 28 there. Let's go for a bit of a hit there. A double slash on that one. And then let's finish off with the ultimate there, Mother's Touch, and so close. A double slash is going to sort that out proper good. So there we go. All of them are the level 2 now, but we do need to spend a little bit of time kind of leveling up our brand new characters and looking at what equipment sets are going to work very well. But overall, man, I think we had a really good opening today. So a massive thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for not only sponsoring today's video, but giving me all of these shards to to open because we've really expanded our roster. It's given us a lot more characters to kind of look at and play around with when it comes to some future Raid Shadow Legends videos. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, please do smash that like button. That would be greatly appreciated. Finally, if you want to help support the channel and download Raid Shadow Legends and instantly get 50,000 silver, be sure to use the link in the description or comment section of this video. Thank you once again so much for all of the support on today's video. Take care, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.